Yo, what's up? This is hal-in-philly. How's it going? Right now, I'm in my car listening to Dave Canyon on Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. It's about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all.
Hi, good morning, Dave. This me, Colin. I was going to go in and get gas soon. I'm on my way. Wanted to see if you wanted to come.
Go get gas with you?
Up.
Yeah, I'll come pick you up. I don't know about getting gas with you. You can do that yourself.
My phone number is Steve.
Right. Steve.
Get Steve's number. So if you just let me know if you're coming or if you're not coming.
Right.
And then we can go from there.
Right. Now I have to explain to everybody who Steve is.
Bye.
Love you too, Dad. Bye.
This was left through Source MPD Relay Service.
Yes, I know. Source.
All
right, that was the voice of Harold after you heard hal-in-philly introduce the show, rated D for dumb. And hal-in-philly also has a great song with cowbell. And it's available. It's available. Let's hear it.
9 o'clock, I'm bored to death. Smoke so much I can smell my own breath. My baby left me, my best friend's not at home. Can't get that woman off my mind. I've never been the brooding kind, but there's still one thing makes me come alive. Yeah, I'm gone for a drive.
The following podcast is rated D for dumb. You're listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. Listen to Dave commute to and from work on the New York State Thruway in his 2008 Kia Rio LX. He talks about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Join Dave as he asks and tells you how life ought to be. And now, here's Dave.
All right, everybody. Hello, how are you? August 31st, 18:11 p.m. 11 after 6. I'm on my way to work. Want to go with me? You do? I never asked that question in 250 episodes. This is episode 251. I never asked, do you want to go to work with me? Maybe you misunderstood. You don't want to go to work with me, but you don't mind riding shotgun. We're here in the caravan, and we're on the New York State Thruway, August 31st. And, hey, it's great to be here. I hope you're enjoying it as much. I'm going to do the best I can to give you a quality podcast. I am the pragmatic podcaster, and this show is called Dumbing It Down with Dave. And one of the subtitles is Pragmatism, Truth, Happiness, and the Search for It All. A lot of people don't get it. They don't get it when I say it, and then they don't get it when I talk about certain topics, and then they disappear. They stop listening, they stop commenting, and they disappear, which is really interesting, but that's okay, because I love when people show the truth. I'm okay with the truth, and the truth is, I'm not for everyone, and that's fine. That means I'm doing something different. That means I'm doing something good. That's my interpretation. So let's move forward. Hey, real quickly, Aaron Cohen, hal-in-philly, who sings the opening theme song to the show. That wasn't with the show at the beginning. At the very, very beginning, we did not have a theme song, but we do now. And I stumbled onto Hal at Podcast Movement, also known as PM19 in Orlando, Florida. He saw a picture of mine that I posted on Facebook because I had an empty cooler in my hotel room. So this is how you make friends. When you're a man, all right, this is how you make friends. When you're a dumb man, when you're just like an idiot, this is how you make friends. You post a picture from your hotel room of an empty refrigerator, and then you put a side-by-side with it. You post a picture of a refrigerator filled with beer, right? And then Aaron Cohen is in Orlando, first time ever, I think, at Podcast Movement. He's thirsting for a beer. He's jonesing for a beer. He sees this picture, doesn't know who I am, but he reaches out to me on Facebook. I didn't see it until later on, I guess. I don't remember what happened, but we never did share a beer. Wow, there you go. We never did share a beer. not out of fear, and not because they didn't care. But, that's the way it went this year before the COVID came. But we didn't. I don't think to this very day we've ever shared a beer. I don't think so. But anyway, so he saw the picture. He reached out to me. That he told me the story, his particular story, and everybody has a story, especially when you go to one of these podcast movements. Everybody has a story. It's one of the reasons why I love going to it live. This year we won't have it live. They canceled the live event in Dallas, Texas, which I was looking forward to attending. I was looking forward to driving down in the caravan, but that's not going to happen. It's going to be virtual. I doubt I'm going to attend any of it, really. I don't really do well with virtual, whatever. It's not my thing. I like the live aspect. I love meeting people, shaking hands, bumping fists, rubbing elbows, and sitting at the tables and talking to each other. I really enjoy that social aspect of it. Everybody's my best friend for about 3 or 4 days. Everybody likes me enough until they know who I am. Everybody likes me enough, and we get along very well because I'm a good listener, and I could record every meeting with everybody at a podcast movement. You really could. You could just shake hands and immediately say, "Hey, do you mind if I record this?" And they go, "Sure, I don't care," because most podcasters are audio. Cover the kids' ears. They're audio whores. They want to talk. They want to be heard, and that's why they're podcasters. Most of these people, 99. Listen. The industry is not going to be happy if I say this, but 99.9% of the people who are podcasting would never, more than 99.9, would never ever make it in the audio industry. Would never make it. 99.9. I mean, that leaves a lot of people. 0.001% of the people is plenty. There's 1.5 million podcasts right now. If you go back in the Dumbing It Down with Dave archives, and I don't suggest you do it, you'll hear me say, "Oh yeah, the last report there was 750,000 podcasts. Every year it seems to go up like 250,000. And I think the COVID definitely exacerbated the numbers. Like, so many people were home. What am I going to do? So many people got familiar with Zoom technology, which they didn't before. I was already using it with a whole bunch of people. A lot of people were already using it, but it really came to the forefront with this COVID thing, with the pandemic. So anyway, that's a lot of talk about Dallas and friends and podcasters. Yeah, but a lot of podcasters are able to do podcasts. They really wouldn't be in the industry otherwise, because they just wouldn't. But it's great though. I'm not poo-pooing on podcasting. And listen, and by the way, I'm one of them. I've never been hired to do anything as far as audio, as far as audio. For video, I've been hired. I have in fact been hired. I've been an actor in commercials, a movie or one movie, a couple of shorts, things like that. I've been called. I've been paid to show up, even with this face and this body, and not just for home movies, not for wacky home movies, like for regional commercials. Raymore and Flanagan, right there. Raymore and Flanagan on the Northeast. I think they operate in 7 states. So there you go. I've been paid. And by the way, I also know I wasn't the best person for the job. I happen to know that I got the job because my name was on the top of a pile of paper. It's so not coincidental. I mean, it's more than just luck, because I put myself out there. And then I was selected. So there's 50 guys probably in a 50-mile radius of where I live that look like me. They probably don't sound like me because they're probably not from Brooklyn. But a few of them do. Anyway, so I am not that unique. I just happened to put myself out there. And then the people at Raymore and Flanagan saw me, and they said, "Oh, that guy is slobby enough. He looks like a loser. Furniture assembler, furniture mover. Yeah, let's get him in here. We need a Fred Flintstone type. We need a Shrek type." There you go. They hired me. I'm in. So podcasting is a lot like that. There's 1.5 million, 99.9% of these people would never, ever work anywhere else. I don't even know why I went down that road. I'm one of them. So that's why I have no delusions. That's why when people applaud me, when people come up to me at work or wherever, they go, "Hey, great show, blah, blah, blah. Whatever they say that's nice, I'm not going to repeat the nice things they've said because I really don't retain that. I really honestly don't. I go, okay, thank you, and I move on. I try to get away from it as soon as possible, actually. I actually respond better to I hate you, that you suck, or whatever is the negative, because now we have something to talk about. Because I'm really curious as to what it is that you dislike about me, or what it is that pains you. Does that make sense? We now have something to chew on. But if you just go, nice, I go, yeah, you could just be saying that. You could just be being polite. I don't know how to verify. Of course, I don't trust. So, I just go, thank you, and I walk away. I mean, not rudely, obviously. I don't leave people hanging there. But it has happened to me. So I poo-poo on niceness. That's not really what I want to say. When somebody's complimentary, I just say thank you, and I walk away. Because it's embarrassing, one, and two, it's not that it happens all the time, but it's embarrassing, and it's like, all right, you I don't know. You could be saying this just for whatever reason. I have no idea. But it often doesn't last as well. And I also know that whatever they're complimenting me on, I could find 50 people that do it better, do it more consistently. So it just goes on and on and on. It's okay. Thank you very much. I got to go. Bye-bye. All right. Anyway, let's move on. Because of course, wow, 11 minutes. I didn't really want to do this. I want to get to these comments. These listeners' comments. We'll probably just do another 1 or 2 shows, and then we'll move on. All right, so real quickly, hal-in-philly. We met because of the beer. We never shared a beer, but we'll share a beer one day. His song, Going for a Drive, is available now. I bought it. I don't think I was the first one. I would like to have been the first one. He's not putting numbers on the copies. They're all downloads. I bought the digital download. I already had it, but I want to help out. So he sent me a link. I clicked on it. He offered to pay me back, but he doesn't have to pay me back. I actually joked. I would buy 10 of them, and I would give them away as bootleg copies. For anybody who's at a certain age, you realize once upon a time, there was a million bootleg Grateful Dead tapes, and if you just go down to the Village in New York City, I don't know about the rest of the United States, but bootlegs were big. People loved bootlegs. I don't know if anybody really got prosecuted for selling bootlegs, but it was a big thing back in the day. And then, of course, later on in the digital world, I think there was Napster, right? Napster, something like that. And now, the whole pirating thing and whatever, it's out of control. And I don't think anybody who's in the music industry counts on record sales anymore. You don't hear about records going gold or platinum or albums. I don't know what's going on. I've stopped buying music a long time ago, and it turns out that the music I listen to is now in bargain bins, so I can get them a lot cheaper. So I waited a long time, and now I can get the greatest hits of the Doobie Brothers, of Journey, of Chicago and Boston, whatever I want. There's a bargain bin at Walmart, 2 for $10 or whatever, 2 for $20 or whatever it is. But I don't buy anymore. I just turn on the YouTube or Spotify, whatever, and I'm happy with what I get. And also, I got Amazon Prime. I'm in my house. I listen to music. I put in a name. I get whatever I get. I don't have to go to the store. It's great for me as a consumer. It's really bad as an artist. Aaron Cohen is an artist who plays live. He likes his gigs live. And not that he's adverse to being in the studio, but he likes his gigs live. And he used to perform a lot more, I think, when he was younger. He had a medical condition somewhere along the way, sort of impeded his progress. But I met him after in the recovery, well into the recovery as far as I know. I could be wrong. We met last summer at PM19 in Orlando. He looked fine to me. So anyway, he has the song from way back when. I don't know how way back it was, Going for a Drive. He plays it on his show, Tales of the Road Warriors, podcast that he does. And I've listened to, I don't know if I listened to all of them. I don't remember, but I know I listened to many of them, if not all of them, especially every one he's done since I've met him. And then he had also It's Easy When You Know Hal, which I guess is suspended operations at this time. But anyway, so if you go to the Tales of the Road Warriors, TALES, not TAILS, talesoftheroadwarrior.com, somewhere in there's a link, and you can actually purchase. It's very easy. I used PayPal. So anyway, I asked him to write me a script. He said he would try, which he didn't so far, but that's okay because he said there's probably nothing better than the Dave Canyon live read. So really, this is potentially a 15-minute live read of me talking about life, but at the same time throwing in how I met Hal and his Tales of the Road Warriors and the Goin' for a Drive song. And by the way, the Goin' for a Drive song comes from a real experience that he had where some guy, I guess he was working at a bar because he's also bartended, but a lot of the places he worked, you perform and you wait. You're on the wait staff and you perform, or you perform and you're a bartender or whatever. So it's kind of like one big happy family of artists who do all that. They'll perform and they'll perform their music, and they collaborate with other musicians, and they also tend to the bar and they wait staff, and maybe they prepare some meals. They help the chef with being a soup, whatever. It's one big happy family, which I would have been more than happy to do as a comedian. If I could have found a bar, I mean, I had a full-time job, but if I was a struggling comedian, I wouldn't mind working at a bar, waiting tables, hosting, doing all different things. That's what he did. There was if you listen to Tales of the Road Warriors, there's a lot of shows he does, and he tells you about, I think, the Great American. I think it was just called the Great American. It doesn't matter. He tells you about California and other places he lived where all these other musicians have worked and performed. So anyway, once upon a time, a guy came into the bar, the place or whatever, and talked his ear off, and the guy smoked a lot and he smelled his own breath, and his buddy wasn't around, and his girlfriend, whatever, and Hal was inspired to write that song, "Goin' for a Drive." So, and I've played it, and you guys have all enjoyed it. Nobody has said to me, "Stop playing it." Everybody said, "Great song." I mean, I'm sitting here trying to get, hey Dave, great podcast. Hey Dave, don't even ask me to share it. I'm sharing it all the time. All these things. But I'm happy that we met. I'm glad I posted that picture of the beer. I'm sorry that Hal and I never got to share the beer. But maybe this year. Who knows? Maybe 2021. Not 2020 probably, but maybe 2021. I've always threatened to go down to Philly and visit Hal at one of his gigs. Philly is a bit of a drive for me, but I would do it. For the hang, I would do it. Go down and hang with Hal at one of his gigs, but they're not gigging right now. He's not gigging, so that can be done. So, long story short, really long story short, a really short story I made long that I can somehow make shorter again and do a little synopsis. Hal is not gigging right now. Hal hasn't gigged in a while because of the COVID. So this would he's doing a lot of other gigs that aren't musically, inclined. So this would be a big help if you guys would buy his song. I don't know how much it costs. I know how much I paid, but I think it's still $1. I think it's $1. So if I'm wrong, I apologize. I don't know if he's raised the price to $1.99, and I don't know if you're allowed to pay more. I don't know if he has a thing where you can actually make a larger donation. But you could also gift this song. You could buy it and gift it to somebody else. You could say, "Hey, Merry Christmas. Here's a song I think you'd like. It only costs, whatever, $1, and I want you to have it." So, yeah, you can actually buy 10 versions of it, I think. I don't really know for sure. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But what a great contribution for $1 that you could buy Aaron Cohen, hal-in-philly's song, "Goin' for a Drive," and then you'll have it. You'll own the full 4-minute version. First verse, second verse, all of that stuff. And it's a great song. It's a great intro to a podcast, but it's an even better song. All right, so there you go. That's my 18-minute, 19-minute live read. Holy cow. Hal is absolutely right. Nothing's better than a live read. But I did tell the story of how we met. And by the way, I can make that story just a little bit longer because the only reason why I posted, this is what's great about podcast movements. This is what's great about podcasting, and this is what's great about engaging and putting it out there. When people say, "Oh, I hate when people post pictures of their food when they're eating. I hate when people..." The only reason why I posted that picture was because I had a roommate, Jason Juliet, from the Jason Juliet podcast. And he insisted that we stop and get a case of beer before we get to the hotel room. We had just driven down. I drove down from upstate New York. He drove down from Philly. I picked him up in Philly. He's now since moved to Puxatawney, but he lived in Philly. Probably not too far from where Hal lives. And we drove down to Orlando together, Jason and I. Jason definitely has a much more, he's more inclined to have a beer than me. Let's just say that. It was way more important to him. I would have just went to the hotel room and said, I'm going to have a glass of water, go to bed. But he said, no, we have to have a case of beer. So every day we know that in that refrigerator, we go from 24 bottles to 22. Like every day we know we have a bottle to come home to. I said, okay, you know what? That actually makes some sense. We're going to be here for about 4 or 5 days. There's 2 of us. We know how expensive and how time-consuming it is to get beer anywhere else. So, yeah, it is a good idea to come home to your hotel room. They got the refrigerator. You open the door, you pop a cold one. So we agreed on Miller beer. I think it was Miller. I have pictures. If I could find them, I'll repost them in the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. If you really want to see it, I'll see if I can remember that I said this and then find it and then post it. It's just a picture of a small little hotel refrigerator loaded with Miller beer. You'll see the empty picture, and then you'll see the fully stocked picture of. I'm pretty sure it was Miller, the champagne of beers, by the way. So I engaged with Jason Juliet. I engaged with the audience by posting these pictures. And I engaged with Jason Juliet the year before. I met him at a breakfast that was hosted by a woman who I became friendly with named Emily Carpenter, who has a podcast called Choice Happens. She's not really doing the podcast anymore, as she's doing another thing called Savvy Num Num or Savvy Mom Mom or something like that. Something to do with being a mom and weight loss, and I don't really know. I'm not going to spend 10 minutes plugging her. I wish people would spend 15, 20 minutes plugging me in a podcast way, by the way. So, you understand? So I met Emily at Podcast Movement 18 in Philadelphia, by the way. Again, so here's another Philadelphia connection. I did not meet Hal-in Cohen in Philly when Podcast Movement was in Philadelphia. I don't even know if he went to Podcast Movement 18. I was Joe Foley's roommate from the No Sitting on the Sidelines dad in Philadelphia. But I met Emily Carpenter somehow. It was a meetup. That's what it was. It was a breakfast meetup of newbie podcast, whatever it was. She wanted podcasters that had a story. So luckily for me, only about 10 or 12 of us showed up. But if 50 of us showed up, it would have been out of hand. There was no way 50 of us were going to have breakfast. But 10 of us. So she put herself out there. I engaged with Emily, where I met Jason Juliet, who became my roommate the following year and my co-pilot. And he insisted we get a case of beer for the refrigerator. And then I posted the picture. And then I met Hal-in Cohen because he saw the picture on Facebook. And then the rest is history. And that's how I have my theme song. Because I went to Podcast Movement 18 in Philadelphia. Isn't that an amazing sequence of events? It is an amazing sequence of events. So, the intention of this show was to read listeners' comments. But we're 23 minutes into the show. By the way, did I tell you that the voice you heard, the other voice you heard, was the voice of Harold? Let me see if this voice here. This is my father.
Hi.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Hi,
Dave.
hi, Harold. Yes.
Me, Colin. I was going to.
Yes, Dad.
Go in and get gas soon.
That's great. You should go get gas.
I'm on my way.
Yes. That's
I wanted to
fantastic.
see if you wanted to come.
Oh yeah, I'd love to go get gas with my daddy. There's nothing better in my life.
Come pick me up.
So enriched. Oh, I got to pick you up.
And
won't you have your
anyways,
car?
My phone number is Steve.
Yeah, I'll just dial Steve. STEVE.
Steve's number. So if you just
Yes.
let me know if you're coming or
Of
if
course.
you're not coming.
I can't wait to come to a gas
and,
station.
then we can go from there.
It's a BP, by
All
the
right.
way, British
Thanks.
Petroleum.
Love you.
Yeah,
Bye.
I love you too. Bye.
There's
Okay,
no
whatever.
messages left.
We don't care. Who cares? We don't care who left that message. So let's just do this. We're not going to do listeners' comments. We're going to do. I'm going to have to push that to another episode. And I still haven't done My Month of Hell Part 3. I got to wrap that up. There's more to that story. There's an epilogue, Part 1. Steve is the guy who owns a British Petroleum, a BP gas station in Brooklyn, New York. My father made friends with him a long time ago. My father's a desperate man. He's a deaf man. He's not mechanical. I could have been mechanical had they just let me go to the vocational high school that I wanted to go to. But of course, as you know, Miss Schwartz said, no, that's where the animals go. She wasn't going to let me select my vocational high school out of junior high school because that's where the quote-unquote animals go, which is code for blacks. I was not allowed to go because that's where blacks go. Anyway, that's code. I'm putting it out there. And I was very disappointed because I so badly wanted to become a mechanic, or at least be mechanical. But Mrs. Schwartz said no. And she also does not like me because I was a very bad math student in her class. Not that I didn't like math. I loved math. I just didn't like learning math with her. I was very good at math. People should have recognized that in me. 4 quarters, $1. 10 dimes, $1. 20 nickels, $1. I mean, I was just really good at basic math. I just needed people to make it somewhat more interesting and fun, not just academic. That's boring. Anyway, so if they had just let me become a mechanic, I could have fixed my father's car. But I couldn't, so he had to make friends. Every time he moved somewhere, he didn't move a lot, but wherever he lived, he had to make friends with the mechanic. He had to look at him. He was such a different Harold. My father at a gas station with mechanics is like me at Podcast Movement, where I'm like a mayor, where I like shake hands, I kiss babies, and I smile at everybody and I make friends. I'm the best Dave Canyon can be at Podcast Movements, for various reasons. I mean, that's if there's going to be an event where you're going to be the best you can be, it would be at a Podcast Movement. I am a podcaster. I wouldn't want to be, curmudgeon Dave Canyon. I wouldn't want to be angry Dave Canyon. That wouldn't benefit me at all. So I am the best I can be, the happiest I can be, the cheeriest, the most open-minded I can be. That's the way my father is with mechanics. Because he's going to need them. Because he's going to buy a car and run it to the ground. He's not going to want to buy, he doesn't want to visit salesmen and that. I mean, he used to buy a car every 4 years. So anyway, Steve was his mechanic. And eventually, about a year or two ago, before my mother had the stroke, thank God, before my mother had the stroke, he finally settled on a new car, a new used car. And Steve helped him get that car. But if it wasn't for Steve, my father would still be running that Buick Century with an engine that's good for about 10, 15 miles at a time. My father would have totally ran that car literally to the ground. But he made friends with Steve. That's why he wanted me to call and find out whatever. I don't remember exactly what was going on that day. But that's the way my relationship with my father works. He calls me, and then I get this voice, and I have to talk to the voice. And that's
Hi. Good morning.
There she is again.
Dave.
Yes. Good morning.
Me calling. I was going to.
This is me calling. Okay.
Go and get
This is going to go gas.
Soon.
Yeah, we made that very clear, right?
I'm on my way.
You're on your way to getting gas.
I wanted to see if you wanted to come.
Most fathers don't call their sons and invite them to gas stations, but you did.
Pick me up.
Okay, yeah, I'll pick you up at the gas station. Sure, why not?
And,
okay, yeah, I'll pick you up.
My
I guess we'll leave the car behind.
phone number is
Steve. We'll just dial Steve. 845 Steve, 718 Steve.
Let me know if you're coming or if you're not.
I probably did go. All right, guys. So this was supposed to be 100% listeners' comment show. I got in the car thinking, okay, I'm just going to get to it. I'm going to do the quick Hal, Aaron Cohen thing, going for a drive, give a quick plug, $1, go to talesoftheroadwarriors.com and look up, there's a link somewhere there's a white van. Look up the link. I haven't done it yet. He sent me the link. I didn't have to go to it. I guess we could put it in the show notes. And by the way, I make nothing from this. I have no arrangement with Hal. What I've made is a podcast that sucks, but at least I have a great theme song. So there you go. That's what I have. That's my benefit with my relationship with Hal, that I have a theme song. All right? Listen, guys, we'll try to get to listeners' comments next week. I promise you. I mean, I say I promise, but I don't know if I can live up to that. What do you say, Hal? I appreciate it. Good luck with the song. Thank you for listening to this episode of Dumbing It Down with Dave. Goodbye, good day, good night, good luck, good riddance, good rats, Godspeed, and great skills. Take care.